Welcome to the People, Passion, and Purpose podcast, where you will hear from creative small business owners in the trenches every single day, talking story, talking lessons, talking failures, talking truth. I'm your host, Nina L. Kovner. Thank you so much for joining us. Hello, everybody. It's Nina Kovner with Passion Squared with this episode of What's on My Mind. It's been a few weeks, and let me just tell you, there's a fuck ton on my mind. And so we're going to jump around a little bit today, but it's all going to connect and make sense. I promise. So this week, after my 36-hour social media break, I came back Monday morning and found that everyone, I'm generalizing, everyone decided it was time to bail on Instagram and jump over to a new app, which is actually a not so new app, an app that was launched in 2015 called Vero. So yes, I'm going to share my thoughts on that, even though I've shared a lot of thoughts already on Instagram. This is for you all, my podcast listeners. So let's go back to the beginning. Let's go back to the very beginning of why we're even on social platforms to begin with. Loves. I have been saying the same thing for so many years, but I just looked up a few blog posts that I did back in 2014, 2015, 2016, but one that was very interesting to me, because I know everyone's all bent out of shape around algorithms and shit like that. I get it. I did a podcast on algorithms, so go listen to that one. I want to go back to what matters. I want to go back to the beginning and help you all gain some perspective around what this all really means. So let's first define social as an adjective relating to or involving activities in which people spend time talking to each other, relating to each other, liking each other. Social. Right? It's not about tricks. It's not about manipulating. It's not about spamming. It's not about screaming. It's not about attention seeking. It never has been. Algorithm or no algorithm. Social's always has always been the same. So instead of getting all bent out of shape around, oh, my follower growth isn't growing as much, or people aren't liking my posts as much, instead of focusing on that, how about you ask yourself, how can I be of more value to my community? How can I create more valuable content that my followers want to engage with? How can I create content consistently? How can I engage with my community consistently? How can I listen better? How can I have more meaningful conversations? All of these things are so incredibly important. How can I become a more authentic storyteller? I want you to think about that. And think about how you can do that. Now, I want to take you back to August 2015. And this was a post that I did, 5 steps to creating Insta Awesome, an old blog post. So I actually started the post with a quote from Dale Carnegie. If you don't know who Dale Carnegie is, Google him. You make more friends in 2 months by becoming interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. It says so much about this attention-seeking culture that is just self-serving and doesn't work long-term. It works short-term, but it doesn't work long-term. And I deal in the long term. So if you're a short-term person, awesome. I'm not your person, right? But if you're looking for more authentic, long-term business development, brand development, and growth, then listen. So in this post in August 2015, long before the Instagram algorithm, Here were my 5 steps. So step number 1, well, first and foremost, always start with why, right? Hello, Simon Sinek. If you've read Start With Why and you still don't understand what that means, read it again. Read it again and read it again and read it again. What outcome are you seeking? Why would somebody want to engage with you? Why do you exist? What is your purpose? So, number 1, what is your story? People respond to stories. Brands tell stories. What's your story, right? You got to know. You got to know. What value do you bring to the conversation? We got to listen more than we talk. But when we do talk, what value are we bringing? And I'm not talking about self-promotion. I'm not talking about attention seeking. I'm talking about how are you helping my life become better? Because that's your job as a storyteller and content creator. What will your theme be? Of course, that's about identity, look, feel, vibe. Number 4, what hashtags will you use to connect, engage, and become more discoverable? Remember, guys, I wrote this back in 2015. How much time are you willing to invest in building relationships, engaging, and content creation? And this is really where I wrote in this blog from 2015. This is where the pros and amateurs divide. If you're serious about building relationships, engaging and listening, then you will invest the time, period. How much? It depends on your content and engagement plan. Back then, when I wrote this blog, I spent 2+ hours a day on Instagram. I probably still do. So that's, I mean, guys, again, nothing's changed. Now, I found another post that I wrote in June 2015. And it's titled 3 Ingredients of an Awesome Social Post. So my 3 points back then were make it relevant. When people choose to follow it, it's because they've decided there's something of value we have to offer. Make it human. This is where I think so many people are missing the boat, is that for some reason, some Instagram expert somewhere, I don't know, because I don't follow Instagram experts, but somebody somewhere told everybody, again, exaggerating, generalizing, that everything needed to be so carefully and inauthentically curated that it became inhuman. Guys, yes, quality. There is no reason in 2018 to have crappy images and graphics. So yes, quality, but you can have quality content that's actually also human, that's not manipulated, that's not edited, that's not staged, that's not just, you guys know what I'm talking about. It's so beige. It's so beige. And I want you guys to think about that. And when you're looking at your content, make it visual, of course. That's a no-brainer. So clean, clear, human. Make it visual, and make it relevant. So that's social shit that I've been sharing for many years. When you're thinking about choosing a social platform, when you're thinking about creating a content plan, there's one thing that you have to stay focused on. First and foremost, who are your people? Who's that audience, right? Who are your people? What do they value? What's important to them? And where do they hang out? Because somebody can tell you you need to be on Google Plus. Yet when you got on Google Plus, you were speaking to an empty room. Let's say that the majority of your target audience is on Twitter, but everyone's telling you should be on Instagram. Well, then you're speaking to an empty room. So you have to understand where your audience hangs out. How do you know that? Ask them. Do some research. Study. Ask your clients. Ask your community, right? So research. Listen. So who are these people? What do they value? And where do they hang out? And then that allows us to begin to build something of significance, build something of relevance, and be able to actually be quote unquote social, which is about these relationships and two-way conversations and blah, 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 blah. So let's talk about what happened in the last week. So there's several articles now on the internet about Vero. And It's been around since 2015, but it went viral in the last 5 days. And I'm recording this podcast on February 27th. So it went viral in the last 5 days, last week of February. And since I primarily hang out in the pro beauty space, it began to go viral over the weekend in the pro beauty space. And why did this happen? Well, the stories that I'm hearing and the way that I'm seeing it being approached is because of everyone, again, generalizing and exaggerating. Everyone's over it on Instagram. Everyone's angry still at the algorithm a year later. More than a year later, right? Remember 2 years. It'll be 2 years. The great Instagram meltdown of 2016, I think it was, is when the algorithm came into play. So, okay, that's great. Hanging on to that, walking around with that anger for 2 years. First of all, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And go check in with your therapist. And I'm not being sarcastic. You guys know me. If you listen to the podcast, if you follow anything I do, you know that I'm a big mental health proponent. If you're carrying that kind of anger for this long, it's a problem. So anyway, so back to the Vero thing. So what I've been, seeing is that, it's chronological order and they're not going to be advertising and blah, blah, blah. If you've been around for a minute, let me just give you some context. Instagram wasn't an ad platform 3 years ago. Instagram didn't have an algorithm 3 years ago. Instagram was in chronological order 3 years ago. Facebook didn't have ads 10 years ago. Facebook was in chronological order 10 years ago. I'm not saying that Vero will or will not change. I have no control over that. I really don't even care. But the idea that we're going to go make a rash emotional decision based on data that I don't even know if it's based on data, because even though the ego's a little bruised because maybe your engagement's down a little bit on Instagram, that's no reason to abandon your community that has supported you for years. Now, when I look at my clients, myself, my engagement's never been better and business is great, but I also have a very curated following. I never used hashtags that were random. I never used contests or got people to follow me for no reason. I'm not saying those are bad. I'm just saying sometimes we don't get our target audience when we participate in those types of things. That's why hashtags are so important, that they're relevant to your content, that they're relevant to your target audience, because you can get a bunch of random followers. And while that may be good for the ego, it does not help you when this shit happens, right? So anyways, so let me read you the manifesto, the Vero manifesto. Our business model, unlike most of our competitors, Vero's business model isn't based on serving advertisements. As a subscription-based service, our users are our customers, not the products we sell to advertisers. Our subscription model will allow us to keep Vero advertising free and to focus solely on delivering the best social experience instead of trying to find new ways to monetize our users' behaviors or tricking them back into the app with notifications, blah, blah, blah. Our first 1 million users, we are waiving the subscription fee. Okay, great. So that's a great marketing tactic, guys. This is marketing. And it's very possible that they will be able to generate revenue and become profitable or sell to Facebook or Instagram someday with the subscription model. But let me ask you, if you're okay with a subscription model, then why aren't you paying Instagram a subscription fee? Why aren't you okay paying Facebook a subscription fee? We think we're okay with it until we actually are faced with the moment of truth, which is clicking subscribe. If Vero was charging you $10 a month, would you be as excited to abandon the platforms where your communities are for something that is unknown? I don't know. You have to answer that question. Again, guys, I'm not anti-Vero. I'm not anti-Ello. I'm not anti-Blab. I'm not anti any of these apps that have come around and said they were the next YouTube, the next Facebook, the next Instagram. I'm not against any of them. I am pro-focus. I am pro be where your clients are. I am pro focus on relationships, not on analytics and numbers. I am pro social. So that is the issue, is we certainly already have a focus problem and an attention deficit problem. Do we need to continue to divert our attention elsewhere? Only you can answer that question. Is your target audience on the platform? Only you can answer that question. Do you have time to show up daily, consistently as a content creator, storyteller, and relationship builder? Only you can answer that question. That is how I feel. That is what I believe. And the context that I bring to this is I have no emotional skin in the game, right? I look at all platforms objectively because that's my job. It's what I do for a living. I don't do it as a hobby. I don't do it as kind of a side gig. This is what I do every day. And I'm constantly studying and listening and observing and seeing what's happening. So could Vero be the next Instagram? Oh my gosh, sure. Yeah, it could be. And Instagram could be the next Instagram. And Nina's new app she's launching next year could be the new Instagram. Just kidding. I'm not launching an app. And of course, anything's possible, right? We didn't know Instagram was going to be the next Instagram when it first started. So anything's possible. But to these knee-jerk reactions to an emotional situation that to me is very clouded by ego and not really looking objectively at the platforms that you're choosing to engage on. That's where I have the challenge. So yay for Vero, yay for the billionaire that created it. Their intention is lovely. Their marketing story is lovely. Their manifesto is lovely. But remember, that's what it is, right? And remember that you only have so much time in a day, loves, and you're already constantly pressed for where to focus your attention. And all I ask is that you think about that and remember that social is about being social, human, relationships, conversations, connections. Put energy there, guys. And I promise you, it will be an awesome fucking experience for you and your community, regardless of the platform that you choose to engage on. So with that, I'm going to do a commercial for my social school. If you haven't heard, I have a new program called S School. S stands for social. And it is an online coaching program. It is a subscription-based online coaching program that helps empower you to make better decisions when it comes to your social and digital marketing and brand development. You can learn more at passionsquared.net. passionsquared.net / S-school, or you can go to my Instagram at Passion Squared and click on the link in my bio. This has been Nina Kovner with What's on My Mind. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Have an awesome day wherever you are. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's podcast. To learn more about Passion Squared, you can visit us at passionsquared.net. You can find us on the gram and on Facebook at Passion Squared. And be sure to subscribe and share with your friends. We're so grateful. Thank you so much for joining us. Have an awesome day, guys. Love you.